Hello, in this video we're going to be talking about some different options to reduce the volume of an acoustic drum kit. If you're watching this video, you're probably a drummer who's thinking, crap, how am I going to manage to play these drums without pissing my neighbors off because they're such an insanely loud instrument? Well, these different drum mute options will give you some ways to seriously reduce the volume and hopefully keep everyone happy, including yourself. So let's get into it. On this lovely drum kit, we have a few different things going on. We have a combination of Vic Firth and Evans drum mutes on the drums themselves. And then on the cymbals, it's a combination of Evans and a trash yoga mat I cut up and put on the cymbals. So with the cymbals, I'll talk about that first. Whenever you buy the Evans Sound Off pack or a Vic Firth pack, it comes with these black professional looking cymbal mutes that you see on the hi-hat, china, and ride. But if you want to save some money and not buy professional ridiculous cymbal mutes for every single cymbal you have, you can go to whichever store you want, buy a cheapo yoga mat, and cut it to the sizes you need for those other cymbals you're trying to mute. It works really well and it's a super cheap, viable option. It is not as good in quality-wise as the cymbal mutes from the professional companies, but it's totally fine if you're just trying to find a way to practice and keep the volume down and save a little bit of money. Now, in terms of the drums, the reason there's a Vic Firth mute on the snare is because after a couple of years, the Evans Sound Off mute that was on the snare wore out, the material kind of separated. And that makes sense. The snare is one of the drums you hit the most, so naturally that one was the first to go. Overall, very happy with the Evans Sound Off mutes. I just wanted to try something different and see if the Vic Firth would last longer. So far, it's been a couple months since I got that Vic Firth drum mute, and it's held up pretty well, so we'll see what happens. I would definitely weigh both options. They're both probably about equal, but I'm thinking the Vic Firth mute might be slightly higher in quality, so I'm leaning toward that one. And by the way, I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by anyone at the time of this video, and it's a pretty unbiased opinion, just trying to help y'all out and bring down the volume of your drum kit so you can keep playing. So I will now shut up for a second and hit these different drums and cymbals so y'all can get a feel for the volume on this thing. Here's the snare, high tom, mid tom, floor tom, ride, crash, splash, different crash, this other crash, this splash, this china. The mute on this china is not great. This is from the Evans Sound Off kit. I think it is something I don't hit that often, but it's good enough and it brings the volume down okay-ishly. I'll give y'all a listen. Like I said, I don't really hit that one too often since it's so freaking loud. And here's a hi-hat. Alright, I think that's a pretty good idea for what to expect if you buy any of these different mute options. Another thing I wanted to bring up are hot rod drumsticks. These are different from normal drumsticks because they are separate pieces that are all wrapped together, and these are significantly quieter than your more traditional drumsticks. It's not really focusing, but I'll provide links in the description of this video so that y'all have an idea of the things I'm talking about and you have some options for comparison. And there's one more thing I want to talk about. And let's just say you're in a situation where you're really concerned about the volume of your drum kit. You want it to be absolutely as quiet as possible. So on this setup that I just demonstrated with, none of the drums were muted in any way. They were all just covered with these different mute pads, and that was it. If you want to seriously drop the volume of your drums, you can stuff them with blankets, pillows, moving blankets, whatever option you want, and that will seriously bring down the volume and the musical tone of your drums but you'll get to keep practicing and it will be insanely quiet. So if you do a combination of stuffing your drums with some kind of blanket and using these Sound Off or Vic Firth mute pads, you'll have a very quiet drum kit and you'll be able to practice and do your thing, and hopefully everyone around you is happy and living their lives. I hope y'all found this video helpful. Thanks for watching.